Shalom, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is YAHUAH, and as you see, I am a father. That's my son Malachi. But let me tell you how things all started. Let's go back to the beginning. I'm from Albany, New York. Albany is the capital of New York State, and I hear a lot of New Yorkers downplay it because it's upstate New York. You see, New Yorkers can be very competitive, down to the most vainest competitions. And New York is like Pride Lands from Lion King. In Albany, if I was to compare it, it would be something like the elephant graveyard filled with hyenas. You see, New York City is famous. If you tell anybody you're from New York, they automatically assume that you're from the city. Some people never even heard of Albany, and some New Yorkers would clown Albany even though it's only 2 hours away. The problem with Albany is the same with our people. They don't have their own identity. It's constantly in the shadow of New York City. And the lack of identity causes people to be something that they are not. Growing up there, you were always in an environment where you had to prove yourself. The violence increased year after year. Friends dying, enemies dying, families dying. I thank y'all for protecting me while I was there. I had a friend named Tyler who died, and the same guy who killed him was the same man who put me in a coma 5 months before. I forgive him now, but for so long I hated him and myself. I blame myself for Tyler's death because the night before he died, I saved Jallah from getting stabbed by warning him, and the next day, he took my friend's life. I started drinking the pain away, smoking my thoughts away. I was defiling the temple that Yah had given me. I became a piehead and an alcoholic, but my story isn't about me being perfect. I share this testimony to give God a proper esteem, because through him shall I obtain my salvation. I've done a lot of stupid things that I regret, but the most dumbest thing I've done was to allow my ex talk me into taking her sister's car so we can go out and buy weed at 2 a.m. Funny thing is, none of us can drive. Long story short, due to my pride, I crashed the car into someone's house. I was placed in jail until I made bail. No lie, I was afraid. I was afraid to call my mother and tell her that I had got locked up, and I didn't have anybody else to call. That was the first time I fasted, and in 4 days I lost 10 pounds. So I prayed and I asked YAHUAH for forgiveness, acknowledging what I had done wrong, and I promised to never let myself get back into this situation. The next day my mother came to bail me out, and boy was I happy. The judge offered me to go back to jail for 1 year or do 3 years of probation, but I chose my freedom. And the judge even warned me that there has not been a black man who had been on probation and did not violate. He told me that if I was to violate, I would go back to jail. And for those 3 years, it was a battle. To be honest, I should have went back to jail. I kept getting into fights at parties, kept smoking weed and failing my drug tests. I even got arrested for assaulting multiple people with brass knuckles. And when the odds were against me, Yah had my back and delivered me from the hands of those who tried to persecute me. Violence continued increasing, and I grew more depressed the more funerals I had to attend. Something needed to change. I was broken, and I could not heal if I stayed in the same environment that caused so much pain. In Albany, people are afraid to lose, so they'll take your life. People were dying over the smallest things: money, women, their own egos, and that's when I heard a voice in the form of a thought. I was told that if I stay in New York, the consequence would be my death or me going back to jail. So Yah brought me to San Diego. I needed to be stripped of the habits that ruled my life while I lived in New York. I decided I'd go out there and be homeless for 3 months. The first feeling I felt when I got off the plane was happiness. It was my first time in California, and I was all alone, but I was not afraid. That's how I knew it was he who was watching over me. I came back to New York as a changed man. 7 years ago, this is where I first met my Isha. 7 years later, we run into each other again on the same street. Being in Albany still didn't feel right to me. I felt out of place, and I felt like it was time for me to leave again. I ended up moving to Florida to be homeless for a few weeks, and that was when I learned that I was an Israelite, and that we was the chosen people. You see, Yah was always trying to put me on. He always used vessels to try to wake me up to knowing who I was. And during a time period, I didn't have the ears to hear. But this time was a lot different. This time I was more humbled. This time I was willing to listen. Moved back to New York thanks to my wife. And then we left and moved to Joshua Tree, California. And as you can see, this place is a desert. It made me feel like Moses, like when he was in the wilderness with the Israelites. There's nothing to do. There's only a few stores, only a few resources. But this was Yah proving us. You see, this was the longest we stayed homeless. We was in Airbnb for 1 year. And after that, Yah made a way for our escape. You see, Yah works in mysterious ways. A lot of times as people, we can be stubborn, especially me. So I needed confirmation. So there's a lot of people who kept telling me to move to Arizona because of job opportunities and low cost of living. My final confirmation was when my sister had moved from New York to Arizona, and she had called me, telling me that I should do the same. And she had helped set up a place and helped me find a job. This was Josh showing us that it's time for us to go. Immediately, we packed our bags and drove out on the road, and now we was on our way to Arizona to start our new beginning. I love Arizona. Arizona's the birthplace to both of our children, with Empress being our firstborn. She was born at home when we had midwives. I love Empress, but at times she gets on my nerves. She can be pretty stubborn, but that's only because she reminds me of myself. A lot of times YAHUAH shows how we are through our children. Empress, she loves animals, and she will do anything just for an animal. She has a good heart. Malachi is our first son. He was born at home as well, but without midwives. I actually delivered him myself by the grace of YAHUAH. As you can see, he's always smiling and happy. This channel is about my journey towards salvation, and the videos I will be posting will be about encouraging others to turn their hearts back towards Yah. We must continue to fight and endure, and make sure that we are strong both physically and spiritually. There you go, everybody. That's the story of my life and how I made it to where I'm at now. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you work out your own salvation.